Welcome to Environmental Sociology. I'm so happy to have you here and be learning this material and working through it with me. It's pretty powerful stuff. It's also can be very disturbing, quite frankly. And so I hope by the end of the term to wrap it up in ways that will be more uh, uh, hopeful for you and with some things we can all do together to make it better. But one thing for sure, depressing or not, or disturbing or not, you will learn so much about what's actually going on based on uh, valid research. So you will at least have the information. What you choose to do with that is your own, is up to you. Uh, and this is another thing I want to say about it. And it's in my, my learning objectives and that type of thing is I do not expect you to change all your beliefs and attitudes and values and that type of thing. I do expect you to learn the material. And then once again, what you choose to do with that information is up to you. How far you want to go with it, or where you coming from about things like climate change, that, for example, that type of thing. So that's an important aspect of this because much of this information is very uh, challenging to people, and I completely understand that. And I think the younger you are, possibly the more challenging it is, not because of, anything else, and that you're the ones, the young ones, younger people, younger generations are the ones that are going to really experience what's in the process of happening and also going to be in the forefront of the change that needs to happen. So I wanted to start just for an example with one of my frustrations with a story, sort of a personal story. Okay, I live in the Coast Range outside of North Bend. I misspoke in the first lecture you're going to see because I was rattling on and said the Cascades. It's not. It's the Coast Range outside of North Bend, off of one of the roads that goes into the Elliott State Forest. And in the last year, what has happened is that almost every Friday and sometimes Saturday night, or sometimes Friday, Saturday, or just one or the other, a huge amount of traffic starting at 9 o'clock roars up. Now we're a mile from our nearest neighbor. The forest doesn't start for about 2.5 miles up the road, the forest road, and so you can hear the trucks. I can see the headlights from the house because we're up high. And then there's a big party going up in the woods, which we can't hear. That's too far away. But the trucks make the dogs go crazy. I can't sleep. And then they start going out anywhere between midnight and 2 a.m. Then that's another waking dogs barking, that type of thing. And then since I walk the dog every morning practically on that road, you would not believe the amount of trash that is there, and the twisted tea cans, and a variety of, you can imagine, all kinds of things, all kinds of empty alcohol containers. Lately, there have been whole takeout meal refuse that's just thrown on the road. We're in the woods, right? This is a road that goes through the woods. It's a very beautiful spot. Um, and so, of course, I pick it up. I often wonder, I have two wonderings about this. One is, since they're the same people who come every week, right? They must notice that all their trash is gone. So, I mean, I picked up a cardboard box full of cans and, um, cigarette stuff and all kinds of other stuff. Uh, Leftover food, chopsticks, that type of thing. So, they must notice that it's gone. Uh, and then the other thing I've always wondered about people who do that kind of thing is, When you stick your hand out the window and open your hand and let it go, I want to say, what are you thinking? Or they thinking? I'm praying that none of you do that. Um, and then where do they think, what happens to it after that? And I was thinking before I recorded this morning that thinking about what I wanted to say is that, okay, it's not okay, but I get why all the alcohol stuff is dumped before they get to town in case they get stopped by the police. But there's no excuse for any of the other stuff. And as far as I'm concerned, there's no excuse for that either. Um, so that's the kind of thing when we talk about the way we change the way you'll see as we move into this course, the way we think. It doesn't have to be that hard. It just, well, that is hard, isn't it? That's the hardest thing, is holding it differently, what we think about. Because, for example, one of the things that's killing birds, I don't know if you know this, is pull tops from cans. They get their little beaks, they poke through it and then it gets stuck on their beak and they can't open their mouth and they can't eat, or they can't open their beak, and so they die. Um, that's just one example of the unintended consequences that people don't think about what the potential is for this type of thing. And my neighbor went up on his ATV to see what was going on up there during the day. And in the spot where this parting is happening, he said there is 3 inches of broken glass on the ground. So the glass alcohol containers, they're disposing of that way. So what we want to do in this course is think about holistically about what does that mean, from how we hold the idea of nature, of our responsibility, of other people, because it's very invasive to us up here, even though we don't have to see it. I have to see the results of it, as I said on my walk, but we don't, we do hear it. It can be scary because people are up in the woods and live a mile from anybody, and these roaring vehicles and that type of thing. Plus, I found out from someone the other day who I was talking to that they're high school kids. So then you add they're under legal drinking age. The highest rates of automobile accidents, of course, are for adolescent males, young male, not adolescent necessarily, but old adolescent and into their until 30. Um, and these are very twisty, windy roads with huge drop-offs. There's already been one car that went over. Luckily, no one was hurt. Those are the kinds of things that impact so many levels of the community, the ecological community, which we'll talk more about. So I just wanted to give you that as one example, very minor compared to, oil spills and that type of thing. But you have the macro and the micro of this whole subject and the whole experience of us all living on this planet together. So, finished with the story, there's a couple of things I want to say, and that is that I say it everywhere, every time, and by the end of the term, I'm amazed at how many people have not read the syllabus. The syllabus is your map to the class, okay? And it's up. It's you can read it. There's a link to it on the left-hand side of the class of the course menu. So please read the syllabus because the coursework weeks won't open until that week. So, but you can look at the whole term and see what you're expected to do, what's due when, all that type of thing. Okay. And also on the opening page, there's 3 sections: assignments, learning objectives, and the overview of the course. All the assignments are there. So you don't have to wait till they open that week. You can look and see what you need to do and what week it's due and that type of thing. Okay? Because each week you're going to be doing a chapter paper, 1-page chapter paper. Week 8, you're going to be doing a response paper to the additional book for the course which is titled Ishmael. And then all the guidelines for that, everything is there. So please look there so that you're not caught short and you understand in the beginning of the course the totality of the course, the ecology of the course. Okay, let's see, what else did it? Oh, yes, the text. I wanted to explain to you about this text. It's very dense. It's small print and very dense. Okay, there's a lot of material in it. I looked and looked and looked at texts, had exam copies. This was by far the best one, but it's, as I said, it's a lot of reading. And I wanted to assure you that because the first chapter is so long, it's almost twice as long as most of the other chapters. And unfortunately, it's the first one when you're just getting started. But it's really important information. So take it a little bit at a time. The other thing is it was one that was inclusive access, so it saved you a lot of money, although I prefer hard copy books. But I understand that it's financially beneficial to students to be able to have inclusive access. It's much less expensive. So yes, this first week with reading is really intense, but in terms of the amount of it, but I just wanted you to know that that isn't ongoing. The last week, we have to combine two chapters because there's a couple of extra chapters than there are weeks. But they're not that long, the two that are being combined. So for the most part, it won't be as intense as this week of the learning and the reading. So just wanted to make you aware of that. The other thing is that there's lectures that I videotape videotape. That really shows my age. I video every week and upload to the class, so they'll be there. Uh, Sometimes there's one and a little bit more, because 1.5 or something, because of the amount of data I can get on my computer and on a flash drive and then upload and that type of thing. Sometimes it has to be split up if it goes over a certain period of time. This week there's two. The first lecture is one that was for another class, and I'll explain that when I put that lecture up. But it's a perfect overview of this class. It was for cultural geography, the chapter on the environment in that. So that's going to be the first one, and then the second one is the one that relates directly to the first chapter in the text. I am not going to go over in great detail each particular environmental issue that is listed in that first chapter. It would be a 2 to 3 hour lecture if I did that. And if we were in class, of course, we could do that over a period of time, but I can't expect you to sit in front of and watch a video for that long. So I'll explain more about that when we get to that lecture. So once again, welcome. I hope that you find this class rewarding and beneficial to you in ways that will really help you kind of parse and understand in greater depth what the issues are with the climate right now. Thank you very much.